Those of you meeting me for the first time, I'm Dawn Sim. I'm a mom of four. I'm a wellness coach. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm very active on social media. But I also have only 4 girls and 1 dog who's a boy. Parenting is a very large part of what I do. Okay, but there are ways to actually make it easier. And this is why I think the Singapore Parenting Festival is such a valuable tool for many of us parents. I hope you're all taking part in all the webinars, the various topics. Okay, so yes, with our experts, including today's certified dietitian and Tian Wei's in-house dietitian, actually, Eunice Tan. All right, she's going to be helping us with those questions that you guys have with eating right, okay, and then menu planning and things like that, right? So with Eunice, yes, okay. So Eunice is with in-house, right? With
yes. Yes, with Tian Wei and Relacto.
Yeah. So you must be a foodie, right?
Pardon?
Are you a foodie?
Yes, I am.
Love it. Yes, but guess what? She's also a certified prenatal and fertility dietitian. I mean, we all want to eat right for good health, right? But there's actually better ways to eat if you're thinking about, growing a baby healthily, or if you're thinking about fertility. Okay, so yes, you know who to look for, Eunice.
Yes.
Okay, and our other expert for today is Leann Low. All right, she's a certified baby sleep consultant. Oh my gosh, I wish I knew you earlier, Leann. So I think every single parent at some point of their parenting journey would have just probably want to throw the white towel in already, okay, and just give up because baby just doesn't want to sleep or sleep at weird timings, and then we just cannot function, right? So Leann
for sure.
I know, right? So if you guys sleep questions, direct it here. Okay, so you have 2 boys, energetic boys, okay?
Yes. Boys are a different ball game.
I know, it's like different species from okay. I've heard a lot about it. Okay, so I think I still have much to learn and share with my friends because it really just disrupts their lives when nobody in the household sleeps properly at all. Okay, so yes, she's the founder of Sleepy Bubba, and she realized that many parents actually need help, okay, with sleep. Okay, so it's actually one of the most important things in a child's life, and I'll let her share more about that in depth with you guys as we go along.
But it's not surprising that I'll take over.
Oh,
so it's not really surprising that many of you do use the internet. So a research actually found that in some countries, more than 90% of pregnant women actually rely on the internet for nutrition during pregnancy, right? As available information is today to us through the internet. Interestingly, in Singapore, in a separate local study, in a separate local study, is the slide moving? All right. Okay. So in a separate local study, almost 60% of Singaporean women actually do not achieve their optimal weight gain during pregnancy, right? So this means that they either gain too little during pregnancy or they gain too much weight during pregnancy compared to recommendation. So of course, in reality, this can be caused by many different reasons, and that reasons can differ from one mother to another. But it really does reflect that mommies don't only need information, they actually do need more support from healthcare professionals like dietitians such as myself during their pregnancy journey. And so personally for myself, I'm very passionate about nutrition during pregnancy and postpartum because this is where nutrition is most impactful and at this stage of life for mummies. So today I actually want to remind many of you here today of the impact that you bring to your family. Right. So as women, we can literally make decisions today that would affect not only the health of your child, but also the health of your future grandchildren too. Research today actually found that when women optimize their nutrition during pregnancy, their nutrition as well as their lifestyle habits, they actually optimize the health of not only the child that they're carrying, but also the health of their grandchildren as well. And that is with nutrition. Right. So this is also known as the first 1,000 days of your baby's life. So this first 1,000 days is actually the day of conception until your baby turns 2. So the research finds that when children obtain the right nutrition during this window, they are going to be more likely to be born at a healthier weight. They're going to grow up to be better learners with fewer behavioral problems, and they're going to grow up with a lower risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even allergies. babies. So this really does reflect that, good nutrition doesn't stop when pregnancy ends, but good nutrition is also important beyond pregnancy, right? So it's important for mommies to take importance about what they're eating during postpartum, and especially after childbirth, and optimize the nutrition during this phase in their life.
Yeah. Well, I'm back, guys. I hope you didn't
I
see
don't.
much. I'm sorry.
Can you hear?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Awesome. Okay.
Cool,
Well,
cool,
I
cool.
just wanted to like point out or ask you rather.
Yeah.
You said that the postpartum diet is so important. Is it because a lot of people consider that like the fourth trimester, right?
Yeah.
But the internal organs, vital organs are still very much developing at a rapid pace at that time, right?
Sorry, can you repeat? Sorry, Dawn.
Hear me?
Can't hear you. Okay, maybe I'll just move forward first, and then we'll let Dawn try to settle, and we can get back to the questions again. Okay, so basically, what I was trying to share is that nutrition after childbirth has made two main focus, right? So it's actually nutrition to support wound healing and recovery, because that's when we know if mummies eat well, they're going to recover well, and when they recover well, they're not going to fall sick so easily, and they'll be better able and fit to attend to their babies. Of course, the second part of nutrition after childbirth is to support breastfeeding mothers, right? So this is where mommies can actually optimize their nutrition, which will translate into their breast milk and ultimately optimizing the health of their baby. So let's look at wound healing. So these are the key nutrients that our body needs to promote wound healing. It's protein, vitamin C, vitamin A, iron, copper, and zinc, right? So these are the recipes that is the recipe that your body needs for your body to promote wound healing, to promote collagen, to repair those muscles in your abdominal muscles, as well as your pelvic muscles. All these muscles needs to strengthen again. And so these nutrients can actually be found in a diet that is of high protein with adequate vegetables. So protein is high, a diet that is have high protein and adequate vegetables is very important to not miss out your vegetables, okay? Because a study in Palestine actually found that in 100 burn patients, those who had more vegetables actually healed faster and better than those who had lesser vegetables. So don't forget your vegetables. So if you may be wondering like, oh, Eunice, how do I know whether I'm eating like enough protein and what is high protein for myself? So a practical tip is actually to use your palm size, right? Your own palm. So at every meal, whether it's chicken, fish, or meat that you're going to have, aim for 1.5 palm size of chicken, fish, or meat. So this way, you're going to know that you're having a high protein diet that will help to support your body to promote wound healing. Okay, so the next thing that we want to look at is actually key nutrients to support recovery in mummies, particularly in postpartum depression. So recently, actually, CNA even reported that in the main women's hospital in Singapore, there was a 47% increase in postnatal depression from 2021 to 2022, right? And so this is definitely a concern. And something that we want to take in seriously. So research nowadays have been showing more and more evidence that nutrition does play a role in reducing that risk of postpartum depression in mothers. They found that when mummies have adequate amounts of vitamin D, omega-3, DHA, folate, magnesium, and adequate hydration, it's associated with lower risk of postpartum depression. So the two nutrients I particularly want to highlight here today that I think that many people will easily miss out, even if they're practicing a balanced diet, is actually vitamin D and omega-3 DHA. Why vitamin D? So vitamin D is actually produced by our skin when the sunlight, when we are exposed to sunlight, right? So mummies during confinement are most of the time not going to be going out, whether it's because of personal reasons or traditional confinement practices, you're not going to have enough sunlight. So it's important to get your vitamin D from your food. And those are foods like salmon, your mushroom, your fortified soy, or your fortified milk, then you can easily find in your supermarket, right? So that's your vitamin D. For omega-3 DHA, it's actually recommended for mummies to have 200 to 300 milligrams of DHA per day. And so you may be asking me, oh, what does 200 to 300 milligrams of DHA mean? It actually means, in terms of food, is to have a fish, 2 to 3 servings of fish per week. And what kind of fish? Fish that are high in omega-3, but low in mercury. So fishes that are good options like salmon, tuna, particularly skipjack tuna, not any tuna, just skipjack tuna. It's a small tuna, it has lower mercury. Mackerel, codfish, these are great options for fish that you should have. I don't know about you or Dawn, whether you actually keep track about how often you eat fish. For me, if I'm not intentional, I maybe only eat 1 serving per week. What about you?
Well, okay, I do go plant-based.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But when I do go for fish, I make sure that I get a variety of it, because like you mentioned, there's the mercury, right? So I make sure I get a good variety of fish. Personally, I like tuna.
Nice.
Tuna, like you mentioned, right? But I also go for wild caught. So
nice.
Yeah, so I try not to I do make sure that the source of it is actually wild caught. So yeah, you might want to know a little bit more about it. But yes, I want to apologize again for the wonkiness, but I think it's got something to do with M1. So now I'm on Singtel network. I think it should be a lot more stable.
Yeah, it really, you are stable. You can hear you. Yeah, totally. I mean, of course, it'd be great if many of you can get wild caught fish. That would be great. But if not, skipjack tuna, codfish, and all are great options, right? So yeah, that is where we can actually eat adequately so that we can minimize the risk of postpartum depression.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Eunice. I just want to remind everybody. Questions, because I have a lot of questions for Eunice as well. But so if you guys have any questions, please remember, put it into the Q&A box, and we will try our very best to answer them at the end, at the Q&A section, right? But I think like one thing I'm thinking about is, like you say, omega-3s, right? And then there's tuna, there's salmon, but what about the canned ones? So fresh versus
Yeah, so canned ones is also fine, actually. The nutritional content of omega-3 is still there. So you just need to make sure that it's skipjack tuna, not like yellowfin or bluefin tuna. So yeah, always, if you're at the restaurant, you're not sure, and sometimes they don't specify, do ask. And if they don't know, it's better to avoid it and pick some other fish that is safer instead. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's look at the next thing. Okay, so the next focus is actually nutrition to support breastfeeding, and this is a very popular topic among mummies because every time they are thinking about breastfeeding, the main question in their head is like, how can I increase my milk supply? And this is a very popular question I get asked all the time. And they're always asking, what foods can I eat to increase milk supply, right? So actually there needs to be more research and evidence to understand whether any specific foods that mummies take can improve the milk supply. For now, the research are showing that some of these ingredients do have some potential. So ingredients like garlic, fennel, ginger, green papaya, and fenugreek can be something that mummies can easily use and incorporate into their meals, right? So this, as you can see, these are definitely ingredients that are commonly found in our kitchen. And so it's not only easy for you to use, it's going to be packed with antioxidants and polyphenols that's going to be really beneficial for you and your baby. Other than that, it really will add more flavors and I'm going to make your meals way more yummier and not add too much salt, right? It's going to add more flavor. So that's one. Then the next part about nutrition in terms of supporting breastfeeding is actually nutrients to support replenishment. So I think many mummies need to remember that even after confinement, as they continue to breastfeed, it's very important for them to still eat well and eat a balanced diet so that they can replenish the nutrients that they are giving to their baby. So mummies need to know that there are specific micronutrients in your breast milk that are dependent on your intake. So what this means is if you're not eating enough of these 6 nutrients here that you see today, there will be lesser content of these nutrients in your breast milk. So it's very important for mommy to optimize this, right? Because nutrients like iodine, omega-3, DHA, and choline are nutrients that are related to brain development in babies. Okay, vitamin A is for the eyes, vitamin C is for the skin, the collagen in between the joints, our muscles, our blood vessels, and our gums. And vitamin D is important for bone development and bone health, as well as even supporting the immune system to function well in your babies as well as yourself. Right, so it's important to make sure that your diet contains these different foods so that you can obtain all these 6 main nutrients.
Variety is important.
Yes, it's really important. The other one that I really do want to talk about is actually about allergenic foods. I think allergenic food is not talked about enough, and there's actually too much misinformation online that makes mummies really, really scared about allergenic foods. So it's actually clinically recommended that mummies should not, I repeat, should not unnecessarily avoid any of these 9 allergenic foods. Instead, they actually should eat these foods if they're not allergic to them, right? So if you're not allergic and your life is not threatened, you should be eating these even during pregnancy. So babies, right, as early as 20 weeks during pregnancy are able to build antibodies towards these foods and build tolerance towards it. So if you are already having these 9 allergenic foods during your pregnancy, it's important to still continue doing that as you breastfeed your baby until they start weaning. So this way, when your baby can build more tolerance to it, then they would be less likely to develop any food allergies later on as they grow older, right? So I think this is something that many mummies are actually very worried about when they start weaning. They're scared their baby is going to get allergic. So yeah, this is one of the way that you can actually lower the risk as much as possible.
That's very interesting because I see cheese there. I see certain foods that we're often told not to eat much of when we're pregnant, like eggs, right? Especially not cooked well. And then the dairy, especially with cheese, because of certain types of cheese, especially.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they avoid it. But try it. Yeah, it's important, I think.
I understand what you're trying to say. I mean, it's still very important to not eat eggs that are not cooked. The key is to cook your eggs well when you eat it, not avoid it totally. So yeah, I understand like the confusion, like, I thought one moment it's recommended to avoid and then now I must have it. But yeah, so the key is uncooked eggs should be avoided. Yeah, that's cause of like listeria and higher risk of mummies maybe having food poisoning if they eat uncooked foods. Yeah. So yeah. So in summary, basically, if everything is a little bit too much for everyone to remember, what your plate should look like at every meal is this, right? So half of your plate should contain your vegetables, and then of course 1.5 palm size of your chicken, fish, or meat, right? And then the remaining quarter of your plate should be your choice of staple, preferably whole grains, of course, that will give you more fiber and vitamin Bs. So this way, you're going to get all the different nutrients that your body needs to support wound healing, recovery, as well as breastfeeding, nutrients for breastfeeding, right? So if you are already practicing this, that's really good. And if you're wondering, how can I optimize even more on top of this, is follow these other 5 tips, right? So of course, how you can make it better is make sure that half plate of vegetables have different colors of vegetables. Aim for 2 to 3 different colors, because different colors means you are having different antioxidants and different vitamins for your baby and yourself. Second, of course, is to have your fish at least twice a week, because that's where you're going to get your iodine. That's where you're going to get your omega-3 DHA. So aim for that and be a bit more intentional how often you're eating it throughout the week. Third, of course, please include eggs. You can have your eggs any way you want. Maybe if you maybe not half boiled, but so long it's fully cooked. Yeah, because we don't want mummies to fall sick when they are like recovering. But have it the way you can tolerate eat the most, whether it's by itself as an omelette or whether you want to mix it with your vegetables or mix it with your meat, no issue. Aim for at least 2 eggs a day, because 2 eggs is going to give you more than 50% of your choline requirements as you breastfeed. And choline is important for brain development, right? The fourth one, of course, is to include vitamin D food sources regularly. That is also from your eggs, from your salmon, and also from fortified soy or fortified dairy. You can easily find this in our supermarket here in Singapore, right?
Yep.
For your vitamin D. And then, of course, last but not least is your calcium intake. So you need to achieve 1,000 milligrams of calcium per day when you are actually breastfeeding to maintain bone health. And that can be easily solved by drinking 2 servings of fortified calcium, fortified dairy or fortified soy that is of high calcium. Just 2 servings going to get 1,000 milligrams of calcium for you, right?
Wow.
So you don't need supplements really. You just need it from food. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
flavorful also, right?
Pardon?
It's more flavorful and fun when you're eating real food instead of
and food has so many other more nutrients. I am highlighting only the key nutrients that you can find from this food, but like, you know, like milk, you have protein, you have vitamin B12, you have so many other nutrients that will come together with it, and not just the calcium, right? So it's really important to prioritize food and not just depend on supplement per se, right? Of course, supplement has its own place, and it's going to help for some people who really need that boost, and they may be struggling with diet, but food is going to be what going to give you energy and so much more than just that single nutrient that you're going to get from supplement, right? So so I hope that that is actually all that I have today. I hope that what I've been sharing gave more clarity, cleared some doubts in mummies, and gave more mummies confidence in choosing what they can eat during your postpartum and breastfeeding journey.
I think that was so helpful. And you know, we have so many questions already. It's like 61 questions already.
Wow,
crazy. Pick out some questions. I'm sure with Leann, when she comes in, there's gonna be even more as well. But Leann, what about you with food? Are you like very restrictive? Do you follow what Eunice has shared as well?
Yeah, I'm quite, because I actually breastfeed for a long time. I breastfeed throughout my pregnancy too, with my second one. And I exercise a lot. So I really take care of the protein that I take in every day.
That's really good. Amazing. Wow. So we all know, right? Babies, besides eating, they also sleep a lot.
Today, I'm going to share about the power of good sleep and how it benefits our babies and for us parents too, right? Okay, so just a quick introduction. So my name is Leann. I'm very happy to be here tonight to share my knowledge and experience with all of you, right? So you might ask, what does a sleep consultant do, right? Is that even like a real job? Of course it is, right? So I teach parents how to help their children sleep better so that they can also sleep better. Yeah, and I am a Sleep Sense certified consultant. To date, we have actually helped more than 109,000 families worldwide. Yeah, and I have 2 boys, like Dawn mentioned just now. And I'm not trying to say that boys are not good, but they are really a total different ball game from girls. They have a whole lot of energy. And to tell you what, my weekend, I usually start my day from like 7 a.m. and there is like no break in between until 7 p.m. when they go to sleep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a full-time job, even on weekends.
Oh, it's worse. It's worse because it requires a lot of physical activity. So in the morning, we will go out for our CrossFit exercise. Even my son, they also go for CrossFit. Then we will go for skating. Then we have to go to playground. And it's just non-stop action, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Wow, physical 100.
Yeah, I'm getting them ready for it. Singapore version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cute though. I have to say, your boys are adorable. How do you get angry with this?
Damn cute.
Oh yeah, when they don't sleep and when you don't sleep, you know how it's like.
Okay.
Yeah. So without any further ado, I'm going to like share with you guys what is the agenda for tonight. Okay. So first, I want to keep it real for you guys. I need to let you know how the first few weeks and months of parenthood will look like, right? Because my dear friend who just gave birth 2 weeks ago actually asked me, like, just 1 week before she gave birth, how is it like when the baby comes out? Yeah, so I will tell you guys more about this later. Then I will review what are some of the good sleep habits that you need to teach your children. And lastly, I will give you some tips that you can take away today for better sleep, which you can practice from the day that you bring your baby home from the hospital. Yeah. So for many expecting parents, I know many of you here are still expecting, you might not know how things will be like after baby comes out. So let's see, only truth here tonight, okay?
Okay.
So this is how newborn actually sleep, right? So in the first few weeks of their life, they sleep a lot. They sleep up to 16 to 17 hours a day. So other than eat, they sleep, right?
Yep.
And they do need regular feeding because their stomach is really, really small. I think, right, if I still remember correctly, when they are first born, their stomach is as small as a ping pong ball. So imagine like the amount of milk that they need to fill up their stomach. It's not a lot. So if they don't take in a lot of milk at one time, of course, they will also feel hungry quicker. Yeah, so they actually need to feed like every 2 to 3 hours. Yeah. Then number 3, they also sleep in short bursts, right? They might be sleeping for half an hour to 2 hours at a stretch, but sometimes, right, even 15 minutes, they will like call it a nap. Yeah. And 15 minutes is not even enough for you to finish your meal. Yeah.
Can't just finish my meal.
Maybe only enough time for you to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And lastly, they actually do move a lot in their sleep. They make a lot of sound, right? And some parents are worried that one of the most asked questions I get is actually, is it normal that they move like that? Like they change their position like 90 degrees or 180 degrees and they make a lot of sound when they sleep? The short answer is yes, they do make a lot of sound too. Yeah. I think it's a good thing actually, is to let us know that, I'm still alive, I'm breathing. Yeah. So we don't get panic. Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. So as a new parent, what can you expect in the first few months? Right. And also as a new baby, they do not know, but they actually will cry a lot. Like crying is their only way of communication. So they cry for everything. They cry because you carry them the wrong way. I don't want to lie down. I want to be put up. They cry because you turn left when they want you to turn right. Yeah, everything.
The only way that they can communicate.
Yeah. And it actually peaks at 6 to 8 weeks old. Yeah. And usually that is when our confinement nanny leaves.
Oh,
When your
yeah,
husband
that's
has
true.
when your husband have gone back to work, finished paternity leave already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the time, mummies will be quite alone during this period lah. Yeah, unless you have like other help. Yeah, and they are also usually confused about day and night. So as parents, we do need to actively teach them the difference between day and night.
So like blackout curtains and stuff like that.
Yeah, blackout curtains. And one thing that a lot of parents actually miss out is you do actually need to bring your baby out and about as much as possible when they are, even as a newborn. I know during confinement, you probably cannot go out much. Yeah, but there are different ways that you can go around that. And then lastly, yes, your life will be turned upside down. Sorry to break the news to you, but it is the truth.
It's true.
Yeah.
I remember going like a bit cuckoo when with my second one as well. Yeah, really upside down, left and right, all over the place, but proper. That just came like so you kind of get used to it, but there are ways to survive it better.
Yeah. You will get used to it, but it doesn't mean that it gets better, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So let's see, like, what are some of the good sleep habits, right? And why is it so important? Because actually, did you know that newborn babies, even up till they are 1 year old, they need about 12 to 15 hours of sleep per day. Yeah, so that's actually a lot more than what you would imagine they need. That's because they grow very rapidly in the first few years of their life. So
Yep.
they really need like a lot of rest in order to support their physical growth and their brain development. Every moment, their brain is making new connections. Yeah. And so actually sleep does not come naturally for some babies, right? So some experienced parents will know that. Yeah, that's why some of us actually had to sleep train our babies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
has anyone heard of sleep training?
Well, I have Eunice.
I only recently did hear about sleep training. Like, I think it's not something that people discuss a lot back then. Like, people just like, oh, you just have to tank the whole night. Like, that's just part of it. And I mean, I have so many
Yeah.
friends who just tank and do the like traditional method, right? Like, okay, baby cry, you need to go and attend to baby, because a lot of them are like, oh, I got no heart to let my baby cry and all these kind of things. So
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something new that I've recently heard, and I think some of my friends do try to do this with their babies. I think it really does give them a lot more freedom, because they know what to plan, what to expect with their kids' nap time and everything.
Yeah.
So they have a little bit of freedom to do other things when it's more routine.
Yes, but
Predictable.
I think Leann will agree that every child is going to be quite different. Because my
definitely.
all four are so different, and the one that drove me the most cuckoo was number 2, because she would only sleep for like 1 hour at each time, then she'll wake up already. So I think that really was, I would say, it was the main reason why I started to go through depression. And yeah, so it does affect you, not just physically, not just mentally, but emotionally, and just you just don't even recognize
Everything.
yourself. Yeah. So I'm very interested to see, like, some tips and tricks that Leann has to share, but I'm not one to let my baby cry it out. That's why I always, like, just okay, no need to sleep, just handle the baby first. Otherwise, nobody else gets to sleep at all.
Yeah. So I will share a little bit more exactly what sleep training is, right? But before I go there, I just want to share with you guys what sleep training is not. So like Dawn mentioned, it's definitely not cry out, right? So sleep training doesn't mean that you have to let your baby cry a lot, right? There are ways to reduce the crying. Yeah. And sleep training also is not abandoning your children. Yeah. It definitely is not you being selfish, right? To be a good parent, you have to first take care of yourself, right? If you have depression, if you're not resting, and if you are ill, you will not be able to take care of your children well. Yeah.
Agree.
So what exactly is sleep training? So it is actually about teaching your baby good sleep habits so that they can fall asleep on their own without the help from you. And how do you go about it, right? So first, since the newborn days, you can already start introducing some good sleep habits for them. Yeah. So you can try to keep your baby awake as much as possible when you are feeding, right? And one thing that a lot of parents actually forget or did not know what to do is that they do not put their baby in the cot before they are asleep. And most of the time, we just like carry our baby until they are in deep sleep before we put them down into the cot.
Like ninja.
Yes, but sometimes, and I would say actually most of the times, our baby will wake up the second their body touch the cot. Yeah.
Wow. Difficult.
And also another thing that we sometimes parents do not realize is that we do not set up like a regular sleep schedule for our babies. We think that, oh, okay, they can just sleep whenever they are tired. But actually that is not true. You need to start setting up regular sleep schedules for them since the newborn days so that you can regulate their circadian rhythm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now that yeah, it's easier said than done, right? Yeah. So now that we know what are some of the good sleep habits, we need to know like why we need to practice them and why is it so important, right? And the short answer here is because if we don't, our babies, they will learn to be dependent on us to fall asleep. Yeah, and you do not want to be the sleep props. Yeah, there are so many other things that you can do to be a good parent. For example, with good sleep habits, our babies will be able to have better sleep quality, and they will be able to sleep for a longer stretch. Yeah, night sleep is actually really, really important for our babies. If they are able to sleep a long stretch at night, like for example, for newborn days, I would say before 2 months old, if they are able to sleep for like 5-6 hours at a stretch at night, their brains will be much more well rested. Yeah, and then they will be ready to learn new things and make a lot of new connections during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when a baby gets enough sleep, they will also become much happier and more cheerful babies. Yeah.
Mummies also will be happier.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because that's when everybody's awake, right? It's like so it's true. That's when more interaction happens, and that's when they can learn more stuff.
Yeah, it's true. So it's also important for the parents, right? So let me just ask you guys a quick question here. How are you like when you are sleep deprived?
I feel like
Depressed.
I feel like I'm having a hangover.
Yes.
Cannot make
Yeah.
decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, and any noise just kind of like irritate you, right?
Mm.
I definitely am not a very nice person when my needs are not met. Right? I'm grumpy and snappy, and often I will say things that I don't mean. Yeah. So if we can teach our babies good sleep habits, right, it will also reduce our stress. We will feel less tired.
Yeah.
And postpartum depression is actually one of the most significant things that affect women once they give birth. Yeah, and actually sleep plays a big part in that.
Yes.
Sleep and diet, and also if you can exercise, I think that would be the best lah. The best three combos.
Yeah, that's the combination.
Yeah. And also, once our baby can sleep better, you will also be a happier person. Then you will have a better relationship with both your husband or with your spouse and with your children.
And
Yeah.
colleagues also, right? If you're
Yeah. Or maybe like even with your parents.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on. I would like to actually share a very quick real life example to tell you guys like why all these good sleep habits are so important. So this is a case study on an 8-week-old baby. Right, that is when we started. She will only sleep when she is being carried, like even in the middle of the night. The mommy couldn't put her down. Yeah. And even after feeding, right, she would just like be wide awake and crying most of the time because she felt tired, but she couldn't go back to sleep, right? So let's see what happened. Let's go through her journey together. Okay, so here you will see the first screenshot. Mommy is saying that this is so tough, like mentally and also like physically, it is just really tough, right? And as with any kind of training, the beginning is always the hardest. Yeah, but things improve in the following week. So mommy is very determined too. I think that is really good. It's a really good trait, right? She knows that she has been through sleepless nights with her firstborn, and this is her secondborn. So she knows what it's like if your baby do not sleep well from the beginning. So she actually like really just tahan and she hang on to the routine that we set up for her. It starts to get easier. And she said that Emma slept for 7 hours straight until she woke her up for a feed last night. Yeah, and that is really good. She was only 8 weeks old at that time. So for that, we would consider the baby as she has already slept through the night. Yeah.
And then you end up with that face.
Yes. You will end up with this face every time you pick her up from her cot after she wakes up.
What a dream.
Success. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is just to tell you guys that it is possible. It's not just a dream. Yeah. So today I do have some tips to share for better sleep. There are many tips, but right now I just want to focus on these two, right? So Yeah. So the first one, you can prepare during pregnancy, and the second one, you can start right after birth. Yeah. Okay. So these are some of the sleep environment checklists, right? So you have to keep the nursery dark and cool and keep it boring. So this picture here is a very good example. There isn't like much things in the cot. It's actually quite empty, and that is what we need, right? Baby do not need a lot of pillows and soft toys. Yeah. White noise will be useful to block out sudden loud noise. Okay. Yeah. Then so second thing that you can start is right from when you come back from the hospital, you can start doing an eat, play, sleep routine with your baby. Yeah, so what does that mean? It means feed your baby when they have just woken up from sleep, right? They are more energetic and they'll be hungry, so they will have a full feed. Then after eating, you will keep your baby awake and bring them out as much as possible to let them know that it's daytime. That's also how you prevent daylight confusion. And lastly, after they digest the milk, they start to feel sleepy. That is when you will bring them back to the room and put them down into the cot for a quick nap. Hopefully it's not quick, like at least 1 hour long. That would be the most ideal. Yeah.
Quick as
Okay.
in the time that they take to fall asleep.
Yeah, correct. So the whole day will just be revolving around like eat, play, and sleep routine. So most of the time, it will also fall into like a 3-hourly schedule because the wake time for every baby is quite different, and how long they can stay asleep for is also different. Yeah, so we just have to like keep doing this. If sometimes they can do like 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 hours, that doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's very important, you know, when you want to try to instill good sleep habits for your baby, always try to have a plan and do your best to stick to the plan as much as possible. But with all things baby, usually things will not go according to plan. Yeah, so remember to also be flexible. Yeah, babies are not machines, so it is within expectation that they change all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every baby is different, so we do need to cater for that and don't take everything that you see on internet too seriously. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So very quickly, right? So if you have like been trying this by yourself and things still don't work out, right? This is actually how a professional sleep consultant can help. Yeah, we'll be the sleep Google. Then we can provide like personalized solutions with easy to follow steps for you to navigate through the sleepless nights. Right? Yeah, and most importantly, you will need someone to be there to coach you and keep you accountable most of the time. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if you don't remember anything that I say tonight, it's okay. Just remember these three. Just remember this three. The sleep environment is really important. It has to be dark. Okay. Yeah, and put your baby onto like a eat, play, sleep routine. So start planning now. Even when your baby is still inside. Yeah, start planning and preparing how you can go about that. Then lastly, make plans for yourself, right? Before things happen already, do like a plan A, plan B, and plan C.
Yeah. It's good to know that it will definitely not go in just one direction.
Yeah. Okay, so one last thing. Just want to remind everyone that good habits, once established, are just as hard to break as our bad habits. Yeah, so let's all start from day one to prevent all the bad habits from happening, and let's all sleep.
Yes, yeah, and it's so important to also know that the habits are going to take time to develop and be ingrained. So don't give up too easily. Like what Leann mentioned, right? That support is so important. So I guess like having that support is going to help encourage you like a cheerleader as well. So you're less likely to give up too quickly. So yeah, I really love that, you know, the both our experts, they were sharing about the eating part and the sleeping part, because if you don't eat well, I guess if they're eating the wrong foods as well, like what Eunice was mentioning, right? Like if the mom doesn't prepare and eat all those foods that are considered allergens, right? Foods that can cause allergies, yeah.
Yeah.
And that can cause problems to the baby. And then if they're always allergic
Mm.
or sensitive to food, then that can affect their ability to, enjoy their days and sleep at
Yeah.
night. Yeah. And then again, like if they don't have a very good routine with sleeping, I think it's going to affect their ability to feed well the next day. So these are actually two very important things that everybody should, pay attention to. Yeah. So really learn a lot from the two experts. Oh my gosh, if I ever have another kid, I don't think so, but I know I'm going to look.
Feel free to reach out to us, Dawn.
Yeah, just another shout out for you guys, okay? Because in case you missed this out, there's a giveaway that we have as part of Singapore Parenting Festival. So there's a Tian Wei Singapore complete parent confinement meal that's worth $2,298. That's going to be given away during the grand draw. Okay, so make sure that you guys have registered and are going to attend with the same email address to double your chances of winning. Okay, and then again, if you guys are concerned about sleep issues, you can go and look for Leann. Okay, and it's Sleepy Bubba. I don't know if you guys watch Forrest Gump, but there's a Bubba Gum. All right, so it's pronounced the same way, right? Bubba, Sleepy Bubba.
Yep.
Not Bubba, because it's B-U-B-A, so it's Sleepy Bubba. So yes, you have your two experts here who can help guide you if you find that you're ready to throw in the towel. Okay, you don't have to, sometimes the solution is, it can be very simple, okay, but you just need somebody to just enlighten you, that's all. All right, so with that, we are going to take on all these questions that you guys have. So thank you so much for contributing all those questions. We're going to start off with some questions for Eunice. Okay, so if you guys do still have questions, please just put it in, because if we don't answer it now, if we don't answer it today, our experts will also try their very best to answer all these questions. And it will be put up on the Singapore Parenting Festival website. Okay, so first question for Eunice. Okay, what is the ideal weight? How much weight are we supposed to gain per trimester for a normal BMI? Okay, so just for people who are concerned whether they're gaining enough weight or not.
Okay, so for normal BMI, is generally around 11.5 kg to 16 kg throughout the whole pregnancy. So the total weight gain is something that normally doctors will actually look at whether you're gaining enough or not. So of course, if your pre-pregnancy weight is below or over, then that number can be different. Of course, this is just a guideline. If you do feel that you are struggling to, reach around the recommended range, then, do ask your doctor, hey, I want to see a dietitian. I need help with this, because it's more important to look at the quality of the nutrition that you're having during your pregnancy as well, right? And when you focus more on the quality of the food that you're taking, then that would naturally be that you will fall within the range. And sometimes this is just a guideline. Again, I want to say it can be slightly different from one mother to another. There's so many other complications and other struggles and challenges that mummies may be facing as well. So those are the things that the dietitian and the doctors will also consider. So this is just a range. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thank you for answering that, Eunice.
Sure.
Next question is for Leann. Okay. Someone asked, should I let my baby sleep on his or her own since birth? And can I let him or her sleep in a cot with us for the first 1 to 2 years?
So my recommendation is always to let baby sleep in the cot, but whether the cot is like in your room or in baby's room, it really depends. So if you want to put baby in his own room since birth, you need to have a baby monitor. It's very important because we do want to make sure that our baby is safe. Yeah. So if you prefer to have baby in your room, then that is fine. But I would say maybe like just for the first 4 to 6 months, because after the 4-month sleep regression, I saw some question about 4-month sleep regression, but after the 4-month sleep regression, their sleep gets a lot lighter. So most of the time, their sleep will be affected by us parents. You cannot be sure that you won't snore at night. Yeah, and all those things will affect baby sleep.
Okay, thank you for that tip. Yeah, because I know like some kids, like 7-year-olds, still sometimes debates with us to say, "Can I stay with you tonight?" So yeah, at the age I already try and go to your own room.
I think I did the same when I was a kid to my parents.
Yeah, I did that
Really?
too. Okay, next question is for Eunice, all right? Okay,
Yeah.
someone was asking, how is she going to have a healthy diet? Because she has constipation. I guess it must be quite severe that she has to be admitted to the hospital. She does have diabetes as well. So how's she going to manage her diet?
Wow. I would definitely recommend you to seek a dietitian, because when you see a dietitian personally, they're going to give you a very personalized advice. I am unable to give you very personalized advice here today, but in general, if let's say it's for constipation, one of the things that you can do is actually look at choosing your fruits. Stone fruits is a good option. Having like stone fruits are like kiwis, your plums, right? So these fruits, you have at least 2 servings a day. That's going to give you the soluble fiber to give you the bulk and soften your stool, so that you would have lesser constipation, right? Of course, if this doesn't really work out, you really need to see a dietitian. They are really going to help you plan everything better and see different things. In terms of diabetes, in general, diabetes is, of course, blood glucose that is high during pregnancy, right? So your body somehow is unable to produce insulin sufficiently to reduce the blood glucose. So what is the most common and general practice for mothers who have diabetes during pregnancy is actually to ensure their portion control at every meal. So you should make sure that the portion you're taking at especially for your lunch and your dinner, the rice that you're taking is going to be the same. Like it can be like, oh, for lunch I'm very hungry, I eat a lot, and then for dinner I'm not so hungry, I eat a little bit. No. So in order for your blood glucose to be more regular, right, it doesn't increase too much, then you have to look at your portion control. So the portion that you're having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner should be similar. I definitely recommend you to see a dietitian. They're going to give you way more input than what I can give you today. Yeah.
I think and preferences also, right? Food preferences.
Yes, they're going to consider all this. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know where to go, guys.
Yes, ask your doctors for dietitians.
All right. So next question is for Leann. Somebody was asking, when should they start to sleep train their babies?
Actually, you can start right from the beginning, but I would say from day one, you will not be sleep training your baby. You will be introducing all the good sleep habits. And by introducing all these good sleep habits since birth, your baby will not learn the bad habits, like being dependent on pacifier or being dependent on like being carried to sleep. Yeah, then you will never need to sleep train your baby. Yeah, so just start by teaching them good sleep habits.
So really from the very first day that you bring your baby back, I guess, as early as possible, right?
Yeah, because actually our babies only learn as much as we teach them. So if you teach them that, oh, you're going to sleep all by yourself in the cot, then that's what they will learn. But of course, that being said, it is not easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't feel like, oh, okay, you are doing something wrong, you are not doing the right thing just because it doesn't happen to you. Yeah, it takes a lot of hard work and tears.
Exactly. Yeah. And then please don't go and read just from Google. Yeah. So I'm sure experts are the experts. Okay. So I'm sure they have various alternatives to share with you, and then like real life examples and case studies as well. So they'll know what to advise you as well based on what you're experiencing. Okay. And the next question is for Eunice.
Yes.
What can an expectant anemic mother eat in order to increase her iron intake?
Okay. I think if you're anemic, your doctor has probably given you your iron tablets to also help you with that. In terms of food, for iron foods, there's actually heme iron and non-heme iron, right? So basically it's heme iron are iron-rich foods that are more easily absorbed, and then non-heme iron foods are those foods that are less easily absorbed. So for example, heme iron that are easily absorbed are foods from like your beef or your pork or your chicken. The ions from these foods are going to be easily absorbed. So if you're eating try to choose some red meats 2 to 3 times a week is fine. And red meats are like pork and beef or mutton is also fine if you are okay with those, right? In terms of non-heme iron, those are like from your leafy vegetables, right? Like if you're going to Google iron-rich foods, they're going to give you leafy vegetables are rich in iron. However, these foods, you actually need to have it with vitamin C rich foods, right? So that the absorption of iron will be better by your body. So it's good to, that's why having colorful vegetables is very important, right? So when you cook your leafy vegetables, cook it with maybe your cherry tomatoes or your capsicums. Capsicums are high in vitamin C. Your broccoli also gives you iron. You can mix it with capsicums or tomatoes. Yeah, so there are different vegetables. That is why I was emphasizing it's so important for mummies to have colorful vegetables, because different colors going to give you different vitamins and minerals, right? So yeah, other than that, normally your cereals are also fortified with iron, right, and folic acid. And one of the ways is actually to have cereals also with maybe with your orange juice. You can pair it with it every now and then. Yeah, no issue. Yeah, so try to pair your foods with vitamin C rich foods as well, right?
Wow.
Your iron rich foods. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that was so
Yeah, it's
I
actually
learned so
there's so
much.
much to consider, right? So that's why I highly
Ah.
recommend people to see a dietitian. Like they will give you
like-
specific information for what you need. Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing. Okay, learn something new again.
Yeah.
All right, next question is for Leann. Somebody was asking if what's an indication that we should sleep train the baby? Any telltale sign that it's time to train?
When your babies cannot fall asleep without external help, for example, pacifier, that is one of the most common sleep props that babies have. If your baby cannot fall asleep without being carried or rocked. Yeah, and another thing is if your baby tends to wake up many times throughout the night and the naps are short, all these are the signs that, it's probably time to like sleep train your babies. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you have it. Thank you so much, Leann. Question about, well, this one is actually nutritious food. Yeah. So
Okay.
someone asking, how do I eat nutritiously to heal and to breastfeed, but also try to get back to my pre-pregnancy weight? How to strike that balance? So if she doesn't eat enough, there's not enough breast. If she eats too much, she's gonna gain weight.
Well, okay. Normally, during your first few months of postpartum, I would really recommend not to lose weight. Yeah. Although, yes, I understand the urgency and the desire to go back to that, but it's very important for your wounds to heal, right? Whether you gave birth naturally or C-sec, it's so important to eat well, nutritionally, so that those wounds heal well. Because if those wounds don't heal, you're gonna have high risk of infection and all these other things, right? So you have to focus on that at least the first few months of postpartum. When you are well, then you can look at trying to lose weight by then. Of course, if you are choosing to breastfeed, gradual, of course, again, a gradual reduction and portion size control is going to be very helpful for you. But if you are breastfeeding, do see a dietitian or a personal trainer that knows that what nutrients, like I highlighted, the 6 different nutrients that are related to the breast milk, to ensure that you have adequate nutrients as you breastfeed. So these are the 6 different nutrients you do need to look at as well when you do when you want to lose weight, right? So individualized meal plan will definitely be helpful. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So seek advice from a dietitian, somebody who can also give you great ideas.
Yes. Heal first, heal first.
Yeah, heal first.
Heal
but,
first, heal first.
yeah, there are ways to heal and eat foods that you also like. So
Yes. After that, you can balance breastfeeding and weight
yes,
management.
exactly. Yeah. So just to let you guys know, we actually have like 100 over questions. Okay. And we're not gonna spend so much time on it. And in fact, we're running over time already. So one last question, okay? For Leann, right? So
Okay.
I have to admit first, I'm guilty of it. With my first one, I did this. Okay, then after that, I was like, okay,
Don't worry, I did it too.
okay. So I'm gonna ask, all right, is it okay to sway newborns to sleep? Or is that will that be a bad habit in the future?
Very short answer to that. Yes, it is going to be a bad habit in the future. So try to avoid that, right? Because just now I also mentioned babies only learn as much as we teach them. If you teach them that, oh, okay, I see that now you are yawning. I know you are tired. So let me help you to fall asleep. So you start swinging them. Then of course with the motion, like it feels like they are still in the womb. Like the motion will help them to fall asleep. So they feel very satisfied. They feel comfortable. Then they drift off to sleep. Yeah, but if you keep doing that, right, your baby will learn that, oh, okay, now I'm tired, so I need someone to rock me to sleep. Yeah, and if you happen to you have had enough of that and you want to sleep train them, then they will protest a lot. Yeah, it's like whenever you're trying to make changes to your life, you will also protest. But the difference is babies will just cry because that's the only way they can communicate. Yeah. So it's going to be a bad habit in the future. Yeah.
So there you have it. Very short and sweet answer, don't.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you so much to both our experts. I mean, 4-time mom here, and I'm still learning so much. Okay, so that's why I really love Singapore Parenting Festival. I may not use it, but I'm going to share it with my friends who are undergoing trauma at this point. So again, thank you so much everybody for joining us for today's webinar. Once again, the Singapore Parenting Festival 2023 is proudly brought to you by MediaCorp and the Asian Parent. Now, this festival is made possible by our key partners, the Gold Partners, PCS Sparkle Tots, Do Max Do Grow, Scots, our content partners, Mums for Life, Dads for Life, Center for Fathering, and Hoya. I know we have tons of questions that have yet to be answered, okay, but don't worry, okay. As much as possible, our experts, Leann and Eunice, are going to help to answer them, and these will be posted on the Singapore Parenting Festival website. Okay, so make sure that you guys head over to see if you are one of the lucky winners. Okay,